Hello all, this is Lindsay from New Hour. I am just waiting to hear the audio from them, but everybody can see, correct?
Yes, Lindsay.
Awesome.
Hi, Lindsay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Perfect.
It's perfect?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm hearing an echo, Noel.
Yeah.
Okay, now I can't hear you at all. Nothing. Now, oh, okay.
Can you change it to my phone audio?
Let me see. You should. What happened before?
It just signed me out of it.
Okay. Can you unmute your phone?
Yes.
Okay, let's try that.
My phone's unmuted now.
Okay, so then you should be good.
Okay, and you can hear me?
I can hear you.
And now you can't hear me.
No, I can still hear you.
Okay, does this give feedback?
A little bit, but take 2 steps back.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We are her. We fight for her. We stand for her. We are her. We fight for her. We stand for her. We are her. We fight for her. We stand for her. We are her.
And then I'll add more voice.
Policy change before it's too late. No death sentence in New York State. Policy change before it's too late. No death sentence in New York State. Policy change before it's too late. No death sentence in New York State. Policy change before it's too late. No death sentence in New York State. What about her? What about her? What about her? We are her. What about her? We are her. We stand here before you today. What about her? We are her. We're standing here today for the women in not only Bedford Hills, Taconic, and Albion to say that enough is enough. These women deserve to have their programs open back up, to have visiting open back up, and to be educated on the vaccine so that they can make a choice. Yes, Pam. We're here standing behind so that women don't have to die in here. We have elderly parole that we're fighting for. Very timely, just passed it today. So we hope, we're not even hoping, we knowing that the work that we're doing, change is coming. Woo! We're gonna hear a lot today. You're gonna hear from politicians. You're gonna hear live people talk their stories. You're gonna hear a lot. And this is all for the women inside. We have a chance. We're out here. They don't. They need us. What about her? What about her? What about her? We are her. What about her? We are her. What about her? We are her. We are her. We are her. Right now, I'd like to introduce you to Serena, ED of New Hour for Women and Children, Brooklyn, New York. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who was with us She spent time with me. She's still here 23 years later. This is a grandmother who deserves to go home. Yeah. Women like Marie and Albion. Yeah. We have hundreds of women, thousands who deserve the leave. They have changed. They've been forced to come home. Yes. COVID in prison should not equal death, and it does. What we know about prisons and jails is that they do not support restoration. They do not support anything but further trauma. And we're here to say no more.
No more.
We are also here to say we want religious services restored. We want children to visit their mothers. College, education, and most importantly, hope can be restored to these facilities. Yes.
Yes.
I'd like to introduce Assemblymember Jessica González-Rojas, who will be joining us by Zoom to share a few words in a moment. Woo!
What about her?
What about her?
We are her.
We are her.
What about her?
What about her?
We are her.
We are her.
Hi all, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Oh, I wish I was there. I was just there at Bedford Hills about a month ago, well, a little over a month ago in late January. Assemblymember Septimo Mondani and I visited Bedford Hills, and we met moms, we met daughters, we met sisters, we met grandmothers, and we met women who I believe strongly should not be in cages. The campaign to pass elder parole, fair and timely parole, and to have a fair and fully staffed parole board is at the intersections of our fight for racial justice, for gender justice, and to take care of our elders. We know that more than 10,000 people in New York State prisons, 20% of the prison population are age 50 or older. And we know that the vast majority are Black and Latinx people. So we need to fight for elder parole. We need to fight for fair and timely parole. I'll never forget talking to one woman in Bedford who I asked if she got support as she prepared for parole. She told me she did not even know she was walking into a parole meeting until she was in front of the camera meeting with a parole board. And clearly she was not granted parole. This is not okay. The board interviews more than 11,000 people every year, roughly 60 hearings per day via video conferences that last an average of only 15 minutes. And the board denies release for the majority of all parole eligible people. And right now we know that the response to COVID-19 in jails and prisons have been completely inadequate. When we went to Bedford Hills, not one single person who's been incarcerated had received the vaccine. The state is sanctioning the deaths of people who are imprisoned, and this is wrong. So I am so proud to be there. I wish I was outside with you. I have a session today, so I can't be, but I'm very, very proud to co-sponsor these bills. We must pass elder parole. We must pass fair and timely parole. We must pass the HALT Solitary Confinement Act. And I'm ready to vote for these bills. And I thank the sponsors for being championed. And I thank you all for being on the front lines and fighting for justice. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm out there with you in the cold. I wish I was. Thank you all.
Next, I would like to introduce a member of New Hour and a member of the Emerge graduate. Woo! Come celebrate. All right. Rika, hold it up here. Hold it up to your mouth. All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is. I am an Emerge graduate at but I'm also a woman. I did my time at Bedford Hills along with Albion Correctional Facility. Through my incarceration and the communities that I've built with women in prison, I've learned what it is like to be a civil-minded and civic-minded person. Through my responsibilities with working with women like Pamela Smart, women that don't ever have a date at the end of their day, and still they sacrifice their time, they sacrifice their values, they sacrifice their morals. I mean, Pamela has been in trouble many times for having someone else's legal documents in her cell just to help, just to do a human service as helping someone out that is not knowledgeable.
So I'm asking you and I'm imploring you to realize that the women inside are not criminals. They're not animalistic. They do not deserve cage. They deserve stimulation. They deserve thought. They deserve the opportunity to express themselves. And they do so in healthy ways. They do so through college boundaries. To the arts. I'm letting you know right now, I would not be, and this is who I am. I've been out for 2 years, almost 2 years, not 2 years. I'm pursuing currently my master's in public administration. I work at a law firm, and I also work as a CUNY coordinator for 14 adult literacy classes. Many officers behind me said, I'll see you again in 30 days. It's been a year later. I am not I am not an exception. I am the rule. The women that are in there are just like me. The women that are in there taught me how to build my vocabulary. The women that are in there, they taught me how to, I'm sorry, the women that are in there, they taught me how to use a steak knife versus a butter knife. Gigi Jordan, thank you so much. When I go to a restaurant, I don't feel uncomfortable. I don't feel misplaced. The women that are in there, they taught me how to budget. Ayomi, Ariana, you're home now, but you served about 20-something years in there. You taught me the importance of buying vegetables and eating a healthy diet. Patrice Smith, you taught me the importance of making sure I take good care of my skin. PVA D. Molina, I've left you in there. You taught me the importance of expressing myself through the arts, of picking up a journal and decluttering what's in my mind. The women that are in there, they're not animals. They deserve a chance. And if our prison system is made to rehabilitate and it's made to restore, when are we going to start using restorative practices? That's from inside the prison. You can't thrust somebody in society after you cage them in and expect a successful reintroduction. You cannot do that. And the only reason we're able to do that is because we go behind our parole officers back to keep that network of systems of forward people to tell us this is the rope. This is the mentorship that you need. I didn't get that from anybody that was not incarcerated. I could only get that from the people that have walked my footsteps. So I'm asking you to remember that we are human beings. Allow us, I'm still included. I'm still part of the Department of Correctional Services. No matter what I do, I'm always scrutinized. No matter what good I do, I'm always scrutinized. But I just want you to include us in that basic human right to fight for just a civilization, just our civil being, our comfortability. And they can do that inside prison. We're not asking for you to send these women home tomorrow. We're asking you to open the reins and let them be able to breathe freely, let them be able to think. I challenge all of you tonight, when you go inside your bathroom, turn the lights off and stay in there for 10 minutes straight. 10 minutes, don't move, don't use your phone, don't do nothing. What does that feel like? Imagine what that is like for 23 hours a day for those women in there. If you don't have a family member sending you a book, if you don't have a friend sliding you a plate of food under the door, you are by yourself and you are alone. We are not supposed to do that to human beings. We're supposed to build interactions and build communities. I implore you once more, build back up our communities. Let the leaders like myself, like the Jennifer Fecu, look at the organizations that are being started. I mean, I don't want to say anything else, but look, I promise you in the next 5 years, my name, the Jennifer Fecu, the Patrice Smith, we're going to be the face of change. You're going to remember the people that you left in there. You're going to remember the people that you excluded. And I want you guys to realize those are the same people you're turning back and asking for the solutions. Yes. And that's all I have to say.
We fight for her. We stand with her. We stand with her. We stand with her. We are her. We are her. What about her? What about her? We are her.
All right, next I would like to introduce Miyhosi from the Women in Justice Project. She's on Zoom.
She's on Zoom. I know in this film too.
Both, right?
I've never done so many spots before.
No.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, and you can turn your camera on too. You should be able to.
Awesome. Perfect. Great, great. It's an honor to be here. My name is Miyhosi Benton, and I am with the Women in Justice Project. I'm an associate director at the Women in Justice Project. We are here in solidarity with our sisters and siblings on both sides of the walls. Prisons are barbaric and inhumane to all incarcerated people. It's a system that does not allow for transformation, healing, or accountability. It also places enormous barriers on mothers who are trying to parent their children, on women trying to access adequate health care, and on people seeking mental health services. It abuses and overuses solitary confinement, and these problems have existed before COVID ever was a factor. Prison has always prioritized punishment and control over safety and lives. This pandemic has made it crystal clear that our loved ones are not a concern. Prisons are not structured to support people experiencing life-threatening circumstances, and COVID is that life-threatening circumstance. So why is our loved ones behind bars still suffering and dying? During my incarceration at Bedford Hills Correctional Facility and Albion Correctional Facility, I witnessed and experienced the length the prison industrial complex will go to maintain control. I have watched and been on the receiving end of the pain inflicted, whether it was the restrictions of visits on our families, the right to make decisions about our mental and physical health, and the barriers put into place to prevent us from parenting. Because of New York State draconian sentencing practices, thousands of people are suffering these conditions for years and even decades. COVID has exacerbated all these vicious treatments cis and trans women and gender expensive people are experienced in prison. And yet women continue to be leaders, to show up as leaders, to find ways to stay connected to their kids and their families. Women behind bars are strong, resilient, and powerful. So as important as it is for us to bring knowledge and awareness about the barriers and safety and concerns about our sisters and siblings that are experiencing it behind bars, it is just as important for us to highlight the magnificent ways they show up each and every day for themselves and for others. This month is Women's History Month, and we can never forget the trailblazing sisters and siblings behind the walls. This month also marks the 1-year anniversary of the coronavirus pandemic. 1 year that our people have been needlessly suffering. Enough is enough. We must stop issuing death sentences. We must stop turning our back on the most vulnerable and marginalized. So today, I'm urging New York State elected officials to 1, immediately pass the fair and timely parole bill. To 2, immediately pass the elder parole bill. To 3, immediately release medically compromised and Asian people. And to 4, immediately provide adequate PPE and information on vaccinations and access to those and the vaccinations for those that are interested. While we continue the ongoing work of fundamentally transforming how the society responds to harm, New York State must immediately take these steps to respond to the crisis happening to our sisters and siblings behind the walls. Let's lead with morals and humanity, not with harsh convictions and death sentences. To our sisters and siblings behind the walls, we are with you. We will never stop fighting for you. We love you. Thank you.
Oh, apologies. I don't think they hear us. Hang on one sec, everybody.
What about her? What about her? Next, we're gonna hear from Donna from RAPP. Donna. Woo! Yeah, Donna. Woo!
Good morning, good rising queens.
Woo!
I am there with you in solidarity. My heart is there with you. My loved ones are there, my daughter and my bonus daughters. Thank you so much for allowing me this space this morning. I'm so overwhelmed with emotion. This has got to stop. It's been too long. You've locked up our matriarchs. These are queens who need to be home with their families. My mother is waiting for her granddaughter to come home. My great grandchildren are waiting for their grandmother to come home. And her children need her so desperately. And this is the cry of every woman behind that wall. We need to stop the shenanigans in New York State, pass fair and timely parole, pass elder parole, and fully and fairly staff that parole board. I almost cursed. I really did, because this is a travesty. This is unconscionable. It's been over 15 months since my daughter and other members who are held hostage there have held their loved ones, have visited with their loved ones. They're not a threat to public safety, but what is going on behind those walls is a threat to public health. The governor of New York State says it's not an issue. He's mandated vaccines for the homeless shelters, for the drug addictions, for the nursing homes, but the incarcerated, no. My daughter and everybody there with an indeterminate sentence was not sentenced to death. At the end of that sentence, it says life. And if we let them die there, we are guilty of murder. I will not sit by and watch people who can come back into society like Mimi, like Riri, like Judy, and make a difference. Valerie Gator, the longest serving woman in the state of New York, died needlessly and senselessly behind those walls, mentoring every woman who came through there since her incarceration at the age of 19. She was an icon, a woman of substance, and we sat by and let her die because of poor medical treatment. If the medical treatment was bad before the pandemic, do you really think that it has improved now? No. For every 1,000 people who have died from COVID, one has died behind the walls. We've already lost two women at Bedford Hills. And one, our beloved Darlene Lulu Benson Say, was right here from Buffalo, New York, where I live, where they kidnap our women and our men every day and hold them for a ransom that we cannot pay. And this is wrong on so many levels. We have to stand up. Queens, welcome to the queendom. Unite. Put those stilettos on. March through that Capitol building. We run this. Let the governor know. Let Andrea Stewart Cousins, let Carl Heasties know you are robbing our future generations. Because if we don't have the women to produce offspring, we will die completely out. And that is unacceptable. I thank the assemblymen, women, and the senators who have visited Bedford Hills. You made a difference. You made a difference, and I don't want you to stop going unless you feel like your health is compromised, because we know that they're not vaccinating. They barely want to give COVID tests. I just found out that my daughter got a COVID test a couple days ago, I guess because they heard that we were coming down there. Well, you better be glad I'm not standing outside, because you could hear my voice without a megaphone. I'm crying out, let her go. pass these bills. I will not stop fighting. When I took on this, I said that this was my life, because without my bonus daughters who are incarcerated and my biological daughter who's in Bedford, who's in Taconic, I have some up here in Albion, I have no life. So let her go. Thank you.
Donna, thank you so much for those super powerful words. I believe we are just waiting for them to put the audio back on.
Next we have Amanda Sepino on she's on Zoom, right? Thank you.
Speak again. She talking? So we good?
Assemblymember Sapito, are you on the call?
Thank you. Okay.
What about her?
We are her.
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 Yeah, sure.
Next we're gonna have Jennifer. Jennifer here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jennifer, I apologize. I don't want to ruin your last name. Jennifer Fecu, are you on the call?
Yes. Can
There
you hear
go.
me?
We can hear you. Go for it.
All right. So thank you all for supporting the women inside. And like Sharika said, we are the women that are inside. When you see us, you see them. So I just graduated college. And I just want you to know that it's not the unique person that's good or that's deserving of freedom. It's each person, every single human person inside is a mother, a daughter, and like Miss Donna Robinson was saying, the families are even more impacted than the people inside, if not just the same, because severing the families hurts all of us. Our children need to see us. Mothers need to see their children. Imani Safe House is connecting with women inside all three women facilities through writing, because we have not been able to visit, we are unable to visit. There's therapeutic groups like Prison Rights and Jessica Hall, who goes into the prisons to do therapeutic work so that women can write their narratives and empowering us. So these things have been held off since COVID. So we implore all of the voting people, including us, because now we have the right to vote, to hold our legislature accountable and to use our votes to advocate for us, for the women that cannot speak and whose voices cannot be heard. So, so for Deborah Smith, who has a life sentence, she has kids that are from Flatbush, right where I'm from. Like she said, these life sentences can't be death sentences. Mazel Tov Borkova, too many, Pamela Smith, there's no sense in it. Tammy Eldridge, too many women and too many families are broken up for too long. So please help us connect. And love is stronger than the bars and the gates. So.
Woo! For her, we stand for her.
We are her. We fight for her. We stand for her. We are her. We fight for her. We stand for her. We are her. We fight for her. We stand for her. We are her.
We stand for her.
We are her.
COVID plus prisons
Equals death.
COVID plus prisons
Equals death.
COVID plus prisons
Equals death.
Mothers and children matter.
Mothers and children matter.
All right, next we're gonna have Sharon from WCJA speaking.
Well, hello.
All right.
Well, all right. We are out here. What about her?
What about her?
What about her?
What about her?
What about all of our sisters and siblings that are here locked up inside of this state prison? While we in the midst of COVID, while we in the midst of this pandemic, and nobody is really caring about what is going on with the elders in there? What is going on with the people that have underlying medical conditions? What about the people that are pregnant or have kids? What about her? What about, I can't hear y'all. What about her?
What about her?
So we are here and we're asking, no, we're telling, no, we're demanding accountability for all of the elected, not ones who volunteered, not ones who was nominated, but the ones who get paid to do a job, and they're not doing it. And that is to have human decency for every single woman and anyone who identifies as a woman that's locked up in the prison. What about her? What about her? We're asking you to free the elders. We're asking you to free our sisters and siblings who are in there and they're dying. They're dying because you don't care. They're dying because their lives don't matter. That ain't right. So we're here to say, what about her?
What about her?
Tell a phone or tell a friend that we need to release our people. Not now, but right now.
Yes.
What about her? What about her?
What about her?
What about her?
What about her?
What about her?
What about her?
I am her.
I am her.
What about her?
What about her?
Woo! Thank you, Sharon.
Yes.
Thank you. Woo! What about her? Next we're gonna have Sammie. Sammie, are you on Zoom?
Sammy, can we get a mic?
Usually everybody's behind us.
Sammie, can you turn on your camera and say hello to
Yes,
everybody?
I'm trying to turn my camera on and it's saying that the host has disabled it.
Oh, try now.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
There you go.
I see you. I see my sisters out there. I love you. I love you. I love you. I see you. So here's what I want to say to you. What are we going to do with the worst thing that has happened to us? What are we going to do with our nightmare? New York State, you don't want to let these women out. Let me tell you about the women that have been let out. Let me tell you about Judy Clark. Let me tell you how she is living and she is loving and she is not wasting her freedom. Let me tell you about Serena, who cares about women and spends countless hours taking care of them and listening to their needs. Let me tell you about Donna Hilton, who does things nobody knows about and spends countless hours delivering groceries, listening to problems, talking to legislators. These women were let out and they are strong women and they can do beautiful things. My name is Sammie Werkheiser. I am a member of the Justice for Women Taskforce. I also am a member of Citizen Action, the Human Rights Campaign, the NAACP. I'm an organizer for the HALT Solitary Campaign, and I am co-founder of Mothers on the Inside. But this isn't about me. This protest isn't even about those of us that are here. This protest is about the sisters that we left behind. People like Joan Swarcy. Joan Swarcy is 71 years old and she has never held her granddaughter, Sophia. This is about Linda Campanella. She's 69 years old and in her locker, she has 40 bags of coffee because she doesn't want to run out of coffee. She hides her bruises because she doesn't want to go to long-term care. But you know what? She's in long-term care. This is about Antoinetta Baldessari. She's a little Italian woman. She's 73 years old. The first time she's even going to get a chance to go to parole is at 88 years old. She brings clementines back from the mess hall for all of us, even though she doesn't have it to give. Let me tell you about Sheila. She's doing 40 years. She tries to keep herself sane by going to Catholic services. What about Pam? Pam missed out on her childbearing years. She's been in there for 31 years and she's dancing her little heart out. And you know what the states are saying? You know what New Hampshire, New York, they're saying, we don't believe in our rehabilitation. We are never going to give you a chance. Let me tell you about Darlene Benson Say and Dorothy Curry, who lost their lives. Darlene Benson Say went in 2013, same year as me. She went up and down the halls. I gave her granola bars. She made sure that she showed me every single greeting card that her daughter gave her. That's Lulu. She cleaned the tables with me. Let me tell you about Julie Werkheiser, my wife, who's innocent, who's serving 2 life sentences for something that never happened. New York State throws the book at people, especially women. We are told on the day that we are born that we are lesser than men. Julie's son, my son, who was born during my incarceration, doesn't know the next time he's going to be able to see mommy because he's grown up on a prison visit floor. And he's going to run to her and jump and hug, but we don't know the next time that is. My job is to be a whistleblower, just like the rest of you here. We're going to continue to be tattletales. I'll be a snitch on New York State. You see me? I'm telling. You hear me? Sergeant Skinner, Captain Thorpe, all of you, you will not lock up my sisters for 23 hours a day and switch it to 19 hours because you know there's a protest. Give my girls back their church. Right now, my girls are getting between 9 cents and 25 cents an hour, which is exactly what you paid them in the 70s. The cost of living has gone up. Change it. What I want to let you know is that New York perpetuates the belief that we can continue to treat our women this way. I believe our Assemblywoman. I believe Jessica. She said to me, I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to fight for Jacinta Rain. And those of you that know me know that Jacinta is Julius's twin, and she didn't make it because I went into labor at 5 months pregnant in solitary confinement, and she lived only 22 minutes. What this state is doing to women, how we push them aside, it's got to stop. I will continue to meet with senators, assembly people. I will continue to tell my story. You will continue to see my blue eyes until there is systematic change. Thanks for letting me talk today. And for my girls that are on the ground, our sisters, They can go to the second floor school building. They can press their cheek against the glass. They hear you, they see you, they feel you, they know who's there. Thank you for our legislators who continue to fight for us. We know who you are. Our eyes are on you, and we're counting on you. Thank you.
Volunteer, and she got to know the women really good, and hopefully she's going to share some stuff with you today. Here you go, Jenny. Thank you. All right.
Jenny, use that one.
Oh, got it.
No, just don't, yeah, don't put it next to it.
Bye, thanks. I became a prison visitor.
Wait, we need the mic.
I became a volunteer.
Not working. Yeah, that's it.
I became a prison visitor in 2017. I didn't really know why I felt compelled to sign up to be a prison visitor. Sympathy for anyone in prison. I didn't know anyone who had been incarcerated. I figured if you were in prison, you probably deserved to be in prison. But yet, I felt compelled, something impelled me to sign up to become a prison visitor through Woman to Woman. I went in that day thinking, what am I supposed to say to this woman? I don't have anything to say to help anybody. I don't know anything. I wonder how long I have to stay. Well, the woman that I was assigned to visit was a woman named Valerie Gator. Y'all know Val Gator? Val became, over time, one of my very best friends. Val was closing in on year 40 of a 50 to life sentence. No chance for parole for another, what, 8 or 9 years? I was amazed by what Valerie had accomplished during her time in prison. I didn't know that she was famous. I didn't know that she was like a rock star in the prison. She was the second to longest serving prisoner at that time. She had completed her GED. She had completed a degree. She had gone through an anger management program. She was then asked to lead the anger management program. Every opportunity for improvement that the prison offered, she availed herself of. She wanted to be the best person she could be. She had a very strong faith in God. She never believed that she wouldn't get out of prison one day. Felt it was so strange having someone that you felt so close to, but yet couldn't come over to your house for dinner or couldn't come over to your house for coffee.
That ain't right.
She would call me after dinner sometimes and say, "What'd you cook tonight?" And I would tell her, and she would say, "How do you fix it?" And I would tell her, and she goes, When I get out, I'm going to show you how to do it. She could be a hard woman because she had had a hard life, but she was also a compassionate and loving woman. All she wanted to do was help people who had been in her shoes as a child, help young girls to not screw their lives up. Val and I had so much in common that I never would have agreed. We both loved to garden. We both loved to cook. We both loved to read. And that was what she wanted to do when she got out of prison. She was going to have a house where any girl who couldn't be at home could come and stay with her and get good food and have somebody to listen to them and talk to them and understand them and help them not to go down the road she had gone on. And do you know what? She would have done it. She would have been brilliant at it.
Yes.
She would have helped save lives. I know she would have saved lives. And what was she doing in prison? I know, I understand. We have to be tough on crime. I get it.
But are we really being tough on crime? Who are we being tough on? We're being tough on families. We are being tough on women who are behind bars. Not only do they have to serve their sentence, they have hundreds of indignities that they have to suffer every day.
That ain't right.
That ain't right.
That ain't right. That ain't right.
That ain't right. When Val told me what she had to go through before she could see a visitor in the visiting room, I couldn't believe it. Strip search, and not just strip search, look up and down, okay, you're good. Strip search. And I said, I'm so sorry. I won't come as often. And she said, it doesn't bother me. I could not believe it. I had no idea. Valerie was a little bitty thing. I mean, she was petite. But she started getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And I said, what is wrong with you? What's going on? And she said, I don't know. I feel this burning when I eat. And I said, well, and I'm losing weight. And they can't figure out why I'm losing weight. And I said, get them to test your thyroid. Get them to do this. Get them to do that. She'd finally get an appointment to go, and they'd hand her a roll of Tums or something, and that would be that. And I said, if I went to my doctor with your symptoms, we would have that sorted out in no time flat. And it's because you are in here and you're black.
Say that.
And you're a Christian.
Say that.
But that shit doesn't happen to a white woman at the doctor.
Say that.
True. So anyway, this went on and on for about another year of the mystery sickness and, no diagnosis, until finally they took her for an endoscopy, which they should have done right at the get-go. And she called me and she said, it's bad, but the doctor said he's going to help me. And I went to see her here the next day. And I said, Val, is it cancer? And she said, yeah, but it's going to be all right. God's got this.
Yes.
And this doctor's going to help me. And then she stood up and she passed right out. And we got her up and she said, I tripped on the chair. I said, Val, you didn't trip on the chair. She said, I tripped on the chair. And she said, I don't want them to take me to the infirmary. I want them to take me to the real hospital. I called a lawyer, Ron Kuby and Ria Travati, who are fabulous lawyers in New York, to see if they could, what I had to do to get Val medical parole. They jumped on it, they ran with it, and they said it's going to happen, but she needs a place to live. And my husband says, well, she's going to live with us. And she was. And we went and talked to Val and said, would you live with us when you get out? And she said, of course I will. Okay. And anyway, that never happened, sadly, because a week later I got a call from the lawyer who said, Jenny, I hate to tell you, but Val died yesterday. At least she didn't die in prison. She was in the hospital in Mount Vernon. When I think of the loss of life that was Val Gator and all she could have given to the world, all she did give, but everything else she could have given, it just breaks my heart. I loved her.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What about Val? What about Val?
What about Val?
What about Val?
What about Val?
What about Val?
What about Val?
We are here to say that women deserve compassion, women deserve relief, and women deserve humane treatment. Val used to give me cheese from the mess hall. I was 19. Val stayed there and died in a prison infirmary instead of coming home like the rest of us are here. That should have never happened. What we know is that women, as Jenny described, survive tremendous trauma every single day they are incarcerated. Between the strip searches and the assault and the verbal harassment. This is International Women's History Month. Let's remember the women we have deserted behind bars.
What about her? I am her.
I am her.
What about her?
What about her?
I am her.
I am her.
What about that?
What about thou?
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 Oh my
Next, we're gonna have Aisha. Aisha, you with us?
Hello?
I'm here. My video just not on.
Aisha, you should be able to turn your camera on right now. There you are.
Hello, everyone. I said hello, everyone. I'm here today because I'm pissed off.
What you
I-
think about?
I am a survivor of incarceration. I am a mother, a grandmother, a sister, a daughter. For years, I suffered in that hellhole. And as we speak, our sisters are in distress. The heart and souls of our families are in distress. The matriarchs, the caretakers are trapped in prison with no one to care for them. We need to look back for our sisters. I am 7 hours away and I can still hear the cries. I still can hear the despair behind those walls. The pain of not seeing your loved ones, the hurt from being placed in solitary, the confusion of losing the college program that for many was a strong motivator. Mothers on the inside, here's your cry, sister. We are a direct action group who listens to the needs of our women and connect them with someone to assist. We stand in solidarity to call for the end to the inhumane torture of solitary. We call for the release of our elderly. Our mothers are crying. They are pleading for someone to hear them. We hear you, sis. We hear you, mom. We hear you, grandma. We hear you, my child. And we will make sure everyone hears you. We need everyone to get behind the passing of the HALT solitary bill. It's been 8 years. 8 years too long. Protect them. When no one can protect themselves. Don't go about your day sleeping and eating and traveling and living when our sisters are dying. Just help them. They've been in isolation for over a year after the pandemic started to protect them. Get vaccines inside those prisons. They can't protect themselves. They can't just go get a mask. They're dependent on the state to help them. And we have to fight for them. We have to. They're humans. They're God's children. They're not animals. They're not just thrown aside, left to die. Everyone needs to listen. When they cry, we cry. Don't leave your mothers in there. Don't leave your daughters in there. Help. Do something. Thank you.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you.
What about her?
I am her.
What about her?
I am her.
What about her?
I am her.
What about that?
I am thou.
What about that?
We're at the close of this, and I thank everyone who came out. I thank you for your time. I thank you for everyone that spoke. But I need you to do one more thing. You gotta call them legislatures. You gotta tell them about fair and timely bills. You gotta talk to them about the elderly parole. You gotta talk to them about opening up the visiting. This is not right, and it's gotta stop. It's gotta stop. And the only way it's gonna stop is that we're gonna stop it.
That ain't right.
That's right.
What about her?
I am her.
What about her?
I am her.
What about her?
I am her.
What about her? What about Val?
We love Val.
What about Val?
We love Val.
statement from Assemblymember Chris Burdick, who represents the Bedford Hills area.
Yes. Assemblymember couldn't be with us here today, but he wanted to be sure to share his thoughts. So I'll read a little bit of what he said. Every life is sacred, including the life of each inmate who is incarcerated. I believe we have a responsibility to ensure that while incarcerated, inmates should not be subject to punishment which is cruel or unusual. And in my view, solitary confinement is cruel and unusual, and New York should promptly discontinue it. For these reasons, I am proud sponsor of HALT Solitary. We also know that rehabilitation is central to the mission of the Department of Corrections and Community Supervision. Corrections is in its very name. We know well that people can repair their lives. Indeed, rehabilitation can and does happen. And I thank those here today who have been so important to help those who are incarcerated to become returned citizens. That work has been critical to minimize recidivism. I am a proud co-sponsor of elder parole and also of fair and timely parole. The percentage of returned citizens that end up in homeless shelters is appalling. We need to put an end to that outcome. I will press for funding to help return citizens on their reentry for things such as housing, employment, and health care, as these things are crucial to successful reentry.
We stand for her.
We stand with her. We
Are
are
her.
her.
We fight for her.
We fight for her.
We stand with her.
We stand with her.
We
Are her.
We fight for her.
We fight for her.
Y'all still got breath. We're gonna keep going till y'all can't.
Okay, wait, one more. Next, and lastly, I'd like to introduce Sharon White again to close us out.
All right now. We fight for her. We stand with her.
We stand with her.
All right
We
now.
are. All right.
Okay, community. So now you done heard what you needed to hear. And now it's time to call the action. We need you to tell a phone and tell a friend. That we need our people released immediately. Right now. So we need the letters to go out. We need the emails to go out. We need rallies. We need to stand in front of the elected officials' office. We need to knock at their door. But most importantly, we have to free our people. So we're demanding for clemency. We're demanding to free the elderly. We are demanding that the people have better conditions. That those right now that are locked up, that they receive the utmost care, because it's not a privilege, it's a right. It's a human right. What about her?
What about her?
We are her.
We are her.
Free her.
Free her.
Because we are her.
Because we are her.
So once again, my friends, my community, it's important that these issues are taken up, that we must not stop here, that we have to do all that we can do, because a lot of us are free now. So it is our job, it is our duty, it's our responsibility to pay it forward and also to pay it back. And so for all of our sisters and siblings, even our brothers that are still locked up, we have to free them. Somebody has to care.
We care.
So we're asking you to put that battery in your back and turn that switch on. And we can't stop until they are free. Free them.
Freedom!
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 And we're gonna end this right here, but this is only for this moment. Yeah. Because our job is not done, it's unfinished.
Yes,
Yes. So we want you, once you zoom out, that you get to work. Okay. Because we have much work to do. Yeah. Yes. We love you. God bless you. And we must continue to fight. We fight for them. What about her? What about her? What about her?
What about her?
Freedom now!
Freedom now!
What about her?
What about her?
What about her?
What about her?
Freedom now!
Freedom now!
Freedom now!
Freedom now!
All right, I said it was the last speaker, but we're gonna have John Duke from New Hours for Women and Children to say a few words. John, you with us?
Yes. Yes, I'm with you.
Awesome, John. You can put your camera on.
I want to. They said the host has. Oh, there you go. Got it. I'm here. Okay. I won't be long, but I felt the need to express myself about what's going on. We have men. We have men that are in prison, but today we're currently talking about our women in prison. A lot of times men don't come out to these rallies. A lot of times it's not enough participation by men. And there are some men that really want to, and I'm one of them. So I wanted to come today to voice my opinion on the injustice that's going on with women. There's too many things that are going on with women, and men sit around as if these things are not happening. People are sitting around as if these things are not happening, and it's just not. It's not fair. It's not a thing that we should be acting as if it doesn't exist, and to not look at it and to not view it for what it is and to not call it for what it is. We're simply just a part of the problem. So I would say this to all those that are listening, to all those that are there, just know that we are supporting you. We understand what is happening. We're trying to fight for you. We're advocating for you. We don't want you to lose faith. We want you to not only have hope, but we want to be an instrument of that hope. And I'm like I said, I've been incarcerated even myself, and coming home was one of the great things that I wanted to do was to be a part of some of the women's movement, some of the things that I saw a lot of men were lacking in and slacking in, for lack of better words. So please support these bills. We're pleading to the legislators. We're pleading to those that are behind us and that are for us, to ask them to lean over to the side of their other colleagues and continue to advocate for these bills to pass, because there are women in there that are suffering in prison right now. They're not only getting lack of medical care before the pandemic, but even more so now with this pandemic that has taken us by storm. So just be cognizant of everything that is going on around us, and by being cognizant of these things, please be active. Please be active. Please help our women that are suffering in there. There's too many Val stories that are going on. So we just
Thank you so much, John.
Thank you. And thank you guys. We're with you. Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
What about her? What about her? What about her?
What about her?
I am her.
I am her.
Freedom now.
Freedom now.
Freedom now.
Freedom now.
Freedom now.
Freedom now.
Alrighty. Where's the rest?
Lunch is on Sharon. Dusty and everything. Lunch is on
Yes, I'm like, should I sign off?
Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and have a wonderful afternoon. And don't forget, what about her? Thank you, everybody.
God bless.